Ani, Adele Loosemore and Dishnakas, Shebahonaning and Donjaba. Hello, my name is Adele Loosemore and I'm a Treaty Indian from Shebahonaning. My community is at the entrance to the North Channel of Georgian Bay in the Robinson-Huron Treaty area. Today my community is more widely known as Killarney, Ontario. Did you know that MNO says their Métis ancestors were not half Indian and half European? Interesting, isn't it? Considering how MNO is so heavily dependent on the word half-breed to identify their Métis ancestors. In Ontario, the public's understanding of the word Métis is probably like this diagram. Métis is any person of mixed Indian-European blood. But the Métis Nation of Ontario says no, that's not who their Métis ancestors are. On their Culture and Heritage webpage, MNO says this: the Métis Nation is comprised of descendants of people born of relations between First Nations women and European men. The offspring of these unions were of mixed ancestry. Over time, a new Indigenous people called the Métis resulted from the subsequent intermarriage of these individuals. On page 1 of their 2015 Registry Policy Backgrounder, MNO said this: while the children of the earliest Indian and Euro-Canadian unions had mixed ancestry, the creation of a distinct Métis identity and culture was a process that took some time. It was the subsequent intermarriages between these men and women of mixed ancestry that resulted in the genesis of a new Aboriginal society by the late 1700s, which we call the historic Métis Nation. And in their 2023 Registry Policy Backgrounder, MNO said the same. It's the same wording as in the 2015 policy. They're telling us that their Métis ancestors are the people with two mixed ancestry parents. Their Métis Registry and Citizenship page reminds us that MNO's Métis ancestors were the result of intermarriage among mixed ancestry individuals. Under frequently asked questions, look at question number 4. I have one ancestor who was identified as an Indian in the 1800s, and they married a non-Aboriginal person. As such, I am mixed ancestry. Does this qualify me as a Métis citizen? And MNO says, no. The MNO represents individuals who have Métis ancestry. It does not represent individuals who simply have mixed First Nations and non-Aboriginal ancestry. According to MNO, people who were half Indian and half European are not their Métis ancestors. And neither are their children. MNO claims that their Métis ancestors are people with two parents of mixed Indian-European blood. But there's no evidence in MNO's verified Métis family documents that their registrar ever followed that policy. Here's part of MNO's citizen application form. I downloaded this form from MNO's website in 2024. They tell prospective citizens that they must demonstrate a genealogical connection to a documented Métis ancestor, meaning an individual identified in the historic record as Métis, Michif, half-breed, and so on. Any word or phrase that refers to a person of mixed Indian-European ancestry. MNO's registrar relies heavily on the word half-breed, or any word or phrase with a similar meaning, to quote-unquote identify Métis ancestors in historical records. In this case, MNO's registrar refers to FB and French B, both of which mean French breed, a phrase that was used in the 1901 census to refer to people of French and First Nations ancestry. So, many people that MNO says are not their historic Métis ancestors are in their registry as historic Métis ancestors. And many people that MNO says they will not accept as members of their organization are members of their organization. In the next few videos in this series, I'm going to give you some concrete examples of what I'm talking about. If you weren't watching MNO's shenanigans in 2018, you might be interested to know that the Métis Nation of Ontario was put on probation by the Métis National Council. One of the conditions for lifting the probation required MNO to re-register its members using the national definition of Métis. In 2019, a resolution passed by MNO's Sudbury Métis Council said that members were concerned that if MNO complied with the conditions, it would eliminate 90% of the MNO citizens in Ontario. 90%. In 2023, MNO finally dumped over 5,000 members who they said had incomplete files. A cleanup that MNO tried to spin into a public demonstration of their organizational integrity. What about the members who have complete files but are out of compliance with MNO's policy? Their registry policy and their registry practices don't align. MNO doesn't have the data to back up their big talk about Métis ancestors and their big claims to Métis Aboriginal rights.